don't scare me, but you should fear me. The sun is setting, don't trust your hearing. You made a monster, a mere imposter. Go ahead and wander, but don't trust the water.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am back with another true crime video, and today we are going to be doing a story on Bantu Noqekwa and Ethel Noqekwa. Now, if you're new to this channel, I try to do these videos often, so please do check out the playlist. I've done a couple already and I will be doing more in the near future. Now, without wasting any more time, let's dive into today's video. Today's video is extremely recent. It happened on the 3rd of May of 2023. It takes us to Gqeberha, formerly known as Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape, South Africa. Dr. Bantu was born on the 14th of February in 1966 in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. He was born to mother Nombo and father Mphahlwa. Bantu was one of 3 boys, and he was described by his friends and family as someone who was a people's person, meaning his parents were really prophetic when they named him Bantu. People also described him as very humble and also extremely smart when they were growing up. Although he did not grow up in a privileged environment, he never lacked for anything. His parents did their best to provide. And while doing so, his parents instilled strong values in him and also stressed the importance of an education. Bantu did his primary education in Say's Primary School in Port Elizabeth. Thereafter, he had to move to Umtata, which is also in the Eastern Cape, where he completed his matric at Ndamase High School. After completing his matric, he changed provinces and went to Gauteng, where he studied medicine at Medusa. Bantu completed his medical degree in 1996, and things were really going well for him. He then opted to travel back to Port Elizabeth, to his home ground, and he would be doing his internship there at Livingston Hospital. It was around this time that he met a young girl/businesswoman named Ethel Mphahlwa. Now, they immediately fell in love and went into a relationship. In 1998, after completing his internship, he decided to open his own medical practice in Njoli, KwaZakhele, where he grew up. Bantu was all about community development, and it was very important for him to use the skills that he had acquired to serve his community. In the year 2000, Ethel and Bantu decided to get married, and just 2 years later, they welcomed their first child, a baby boy. They named him Bantu Noqekwa. Similar to his own parents, he went on to have 3 sons. Unfortunately, things did not work out between the couple, and a few years ago, they decided to go their separate ways. Reasons as to why they got divorced are not known, although there are speculations/allegations that the wife had gambling problems, amongst other things. Although they tried to co-parent, this proved to be difficult. Dr. Bantu was open to his close friends and family about the challenges that he was facing. They were really not getting along post the divorce, to the extent of which he mentioned that there were threats of impending violence to him. Nonetheless, he really tried his best to remain positive and would see his kids as often as possible, who were now staying full-time with the ex-wife. 2 of the kids were still in school, and the oldest was out of high school and was pursuing a higher education. For reasons only known to Ethel, who is Dr. Bantu's ex-wife, she decided to start plotting his death. Now, instead of doing this alone, she also decides that she is going to involve her son into this. Now, this is the oldest son, the 22-year-old who was born in 2001. So before I go on, I have to stress that from here onwards, these are allegations for legal purposes. It only happened on the 3rd of May of 2023, so this is barely 3 months ago. So obviously, it has not been tested in the court of law yet. Although the trial is still going on, it hasn't really been concluded, so I have to stress that these are allegations. So nonetheless, let's move on. So Ethel goes to her son, who's 22 years old, and basically tells him that, listen, I've just found out through the grapevine that your dad is trying to take my life. Now, I don't know why she would decide to tell her son that instead of going to the police or anyone else, but she tells her 22-year-old that, listen, your dad is trying to take my life, and that is what people are saying. Now, it is also very important for me to stress that no one has backed her up. No one has come forth and said that, yes, indeed, this is true. I had it from so-and-so. Or no one has said that, yes, I was booked to actually do this job and I declined. No one. Now, from my own personal opinion, what I'm trying to say is that that whole story was probably made up. Because I fail to understand why she would only tell the son and not actually go forth and tell the police, because no police report was filed. She never went to the police station to say, listen, I have this problem. I've been told by so and so that this person is planning to do A, B, and C and D to me. Instead, she just told the son. And unfortunately, how he reacted, and this is actually from a statement that Khanyisa made himself after the fact, is that he basically said, well, if he's trying to do this to you, then let's both try and do that to him first. Basically, they plotted that they would hire someone to ambush him and actually take his life before he would go forth with his plan. Now remember, this plan has not been proved. Not too long after the lengthy discussion with her son, Ethel then went on to orchestrate the hit. She decided to go through her own connections in Port Elizabeth as a businesswoman and find 4 men who would actually go and do the hit. Now amongst these 4 men was a 19-year-old boy. Ethel and the group of men met up and they all reached an agreement that the hit would be in his surgery in Injoli and would be executed during business hours. They also agreed that a sum of 500,000 would be needed to complete the task. Before they went on to do the hit, they asked for a sum of 6,000 rands, and this was for anything that they would need before then, so that they're able to make sure that they had everything that they needed when they were going to the job. And sadly, the 3rd of May of 2023 came and the 4 men walked into Dr. Bantu Noqekwa's surgery. Now, it was not uncommon for him to still be working around 7 p.m. You must remember, he enjoyed serving his community, so sometimes he would be working up until 9 p.m. at night. So they walked into his surgery and they went directly to his working room. They walked in and without saying much, they tied him onto the examination bed and they fired multiple shots at him. And unfortunately, he would pass immediately. And the only thing they took were the surveillance cameras and they immediately went out. No one else was injured during this incident. The patients as well as the other people that worked in the surgery were all left unharmed. And that, unfortunately, would mark the end of Dr. Bantu Noqekwa's life. And to say that the community, his friends and family were livid is an understatement. Not too long after the incident had happened, literally minutes after, cell phone records and later on, Khanyisa would also confess to this, that Ethel called her son to actually tell him that the job was done. And this phone call was made from the Boardwalk Casino in Summerstrand in Port Elizabeth, where she was said to be partying up a storm. After the 4 men left the scene, they drove to the other side of town to Summerstrand to the KFC in Marine Drive, and this is where they would meet up with Ethel. And the main point of the meet-up was to A, discuss how everything went, and B, to also discuss compensation, because you remember, they are owed 500,000 at this point. And Ethel immediately shut them down. She basically told them that money would not be available immediately. And I'm guessing that she wanted to use the money actually from Bantu's estate to actually pay for his own death. And the reason for this is because he only had 3 children and the children were hers. So the beneficiaries would be the children and her basically. So anyway, she shut them down and basically told them that, listen, money is not going to be available immediately. However, the only money that I am willing to give you guys now is 1,000 rands, and you are going to use this money to go cleanse yourself. She then went to an ATM in Forest Hill where she then took out the 1,000 rand and gave it to them cash, and that would basically be the last time they meet. Almost 2 weeks after he passed, he was laid to rest, and during his funeral, his eldest son, Khanyisa, the same Khanyisa who actually orchestrated the whole thing, spoke during the send-off. And this is actually what he would go on to say. Now, before I play his actual eulogy, I need to stress that during this time, no one knew or no one even speculated that he had anything to do with what happened. If anything, everyone felt sorry for him and his brothers, and also people just generally thought it was because of the crime in the community. Also, I actually have to add one last thing, is that during the funeral, people spoke so well and so good about the father. They shared things that he had done for people in private, things that he had done in the community. And I say this because he goes on during the eulogy, which I'm going to play. He says something that really makes me believe that it was around this time that something in him ignited and that would later force him to actually confess. He says that his dad always said that you must be careful of how your actions actually affect not only yourself, but other people. And then he goes on to say that he sees that here today. And honestly, I really believe it was his subconscious talking at that very moment. And I think this is what really pushed him to actually later confess.
Hello, okay. Igama lami nguKhanyisa Noqekwa. Firstborn kaBantu ne. Okay, so omni bam bayakhumshaba, so nizobeka nge-English mos. Okay. Tatam Bantu was a people person, we know this. He was quite the man, and if I can explain it better, he was a person that made sure you get the thing done correctly. If you don't get it done correctly, find a way to get it done correctly, but don't leave it. He was an efficient man, and he made sure that he'd raise us to be efficient men and be quiet about it, because it's not speaking about it that gets things done. It's actually doing it that gets things done. It was different from most Xhosa men. He didn't disclose what happens. He didn't talk to people about everything, but you could see when he's going through something. For example, when Makulu went, I asked how he felt, because he was quiet afterwards. But you could just see. Otherwise, as hard as it is to say, may he rest in peace. He was quite the dad, was quite the man to look up to. And I'm glad that I can stand in front of his community, all his friends, colleagues, my family, and everybody else, and just say that I can see how many people he made happy every day. I can see that every day he'd leave the house, specifically around 11, and he gets back either 8, if not 8, and it's late. Maybe he had a lot of patience. Comes back latest 11 at night. That these are all the people that he'd helped. These are all the people he'd deal with or speak to or attend to. And whenever he'd order medicines, every single first of the month at the beginning, and then again the first the next month, that these are the people he'd be attending to. It was nice to meet all of you. I'm glad to come up and speak in front of all of you on behalf of my dad and my family and my brothers. And that I'm glad to see how many people he touched every single day, and how many people trusted him and went to him specifically, not just for being a doctor, but being a confidant, and even the words that were said, everything. It's just really good to see that he did so much while saying so little. But yeah, and with that being said, I just know to always remember that it's not what you talk about, it's what you do. And it's not just what you do, it's how it affects others. This is what today has taught me as well, probably. But yeah.
After the funeral, the police started to investigate the case. People were questioned and there were no real leads, to be honest. And for whatever reason, and we have to be grateful for it, Khanyisa decided to confess. He went to share all the conversations that he had had with his mother, and basically the plan that they made and how they made the plan and everything that happened thereafter. Now, it's important for me to also share that at this point, the mother had fled and she had went to Cape Town. The police accepted Khanyisa's confession, and they basically accepted it after actually confirming it by going and checking all the surveillance cameras around all the places that these 4 men went to after the hit. It's also important for me to mention here, and I want to know what you guys think about this, is that they decided to actually take Khanyisa and he would become a state witness. What does this mean? This means that he would not be charged for the actual murder of his father, because then he would actually help the police to actually catch the bigger fish. The bigger fish in this case is the people who actually committed the act, and actually the bigger perpetrator, which was the mother, they believe. Ethel was found in one of their flats in Cape Town, and she was immediately arrested and extradited to Port Elizabeth, where she would be denied bail. And the reason she was denied bail is because they felt like she could influence Khanyisa and perhaps make him change his mind regarding the whole thing. And so at this exact time, she is still in jail. Her next court appearance is going to be on the 3rd of August, which is, by the time I post this, it's probably a day or two before or after I have posted this video. The case is still in court, like I've already mentioned, so let me know what you think about it. Also, I do want to start introducing newer cases into the channel, so let me know what you think if I am introducing new cases. Obviously, because they're new, the videos are going to be much shorter than the ones that I normally do, which are 30 minutes to 1 hour long. I will not be stopping those. I still will be doing those, but I really want to tackle new cases, and I also want to tackle missing persons cases. So I really want to try this journey, and this is also going to allow me to post more frequently for you guys, because obviously shorter videos take less time for me to create. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate you. Please remember to like the videos. Liking the video doesn't mean that you like what happened in the video. It just means that you like that I am reporting it. And also comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.